Yeah, I have a bestower on D-Scan, which is a Tech1 NPC overhauling ship. So it's part of a fleet here. The Orca is not part of the fleet, but the diamonds in front of the name on the type list means it's part of the fleet. But yeah. So what I'm going to do here is aggro it. Unfortunately, this one is just about to warp off to a station, but what I can do is follow it down to that station. The Legion, by the way, is a tactical cruiser, a Tech 3 tactical cruiser, and I don't know what the guy in the Thrasher thinks he's doing, but anyway, yeah, combat probes are from the Legion, I assume, but I'm lucky here in that I just barely didn't warp up to that second station, which I'm short on time here because it's just this overhauler is just about to dock. But what I can do is I can aggro him to get the defense fleet to come in, which is dangerous. But yeah, you'll see he starts aligning out, which he's trying to do that to warp off to his safe spot. But what I can do is I can start warping off myself to a nearby station or something like that. And yeah, here comes the defense fleet. So it's a mix of frigates in this case, but this combat probe launcher is taking up so much of my CPU on this ship that really I can't even deal with frigates in it. But what I can do is launch those probes and start scanning down the fleet because it will have warped off to its safe spot. Which, yeah, so I'll be able to tell that by there being a cluster of ships theoretically. But you'll see that Executioner and an Inquisitor is left behind. And yeah, here comes the rest of the fleet. So they apparently just realized that I'm still here. And what they're going to do is try to start approaching me like the Executioner was. But yeah, make sure you have the right filter for your combat probes so that you're only looking at ships and the size is right. And you should be able to see a cluster of NPC ships at that safe spot that they warped off to, which should be pretty close to the belt that they were in. But yeah, the Cormorant doesn't have any bonuses to scanning strength, so I have to just look for that cluster and focus down on it. But yeah, I just go down to 2 AU right off the bat because I know that it's somewhere in there. But yeah, this station doesn't have to be 600 kilometers off. It can be pretty much anywhere. But in this case, because I'm still close, the fleet apparently warped back to me. But yeah, I have that bestower on D-scan, or sorry, the combat probe now, and I can start scanning it down fully. And yeah, once I have it scanned down using the combat probes, I'll be able to warp directly to it. And yeah, in this case, I have to go down to 1 AU again because the Cormorant doesn't have any bonuses to the signal strength on these combat probes. But yeah, it's using like 67% of the CPU output of the ship, which is yeah. A tactical destroyer is way better because it's like a 95% reduction or something like that. But anyway, I'm gonna warp to within 100 kilometers of this because this fleet, this defense fleet, is gonna follow me there. And I don't have any tank on this ship, so I definitely want to stay as far away from them as I can. And what I can do is I can kind of lead them away from their ore hauler by lining out to one of these stations here. So I'm just gonna approach it. And yeah, here comes the fleet. A destroyer is just fast enough. This Tech1 destroyer is just fast enough to keep these frigates at a distance. So they have tracking disruption on me, but I'm not firing at them yet, so or at the ore hauler yet, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just running away at this point. But yeah, you can see the executioners are up to 1.5 kilometers per second. The Punisher is the Punisher is booking it at over a kilometer per second, which means that it doesn't have armor plates on. So theoretically, if I could kite these, I could potentially take them on in a destroyer, but they'd probably shred me because my skills aren't very good. But yeah. So I'm just going to skip ahead here to when I've burned away about 800 kilometers away from the bestower. So just burned away about 800 kilometers. I'm at 747 kilometers from the bestower. And yeah. Interestingly, the slow ships, the tormentors, are going to be closest to me when I warp to the bestower. But right now, the executioners are closest. So when I warp to the bestower, they're actually going to be the farthest away from me because they had made the most progress. So when I go to the bestower, the ships are going to start approaching back, and if they ever do get to me, they're going to come down on me all at once because they'll just reverse the same path. But I'll shut down my Microwarpdrive and just warp to 0 on the refinery bestower. So this is a Tech1 one. This is a Tech1 bestower, or hauler, I should say, which means that it's not too hard to kill. I should be able to take it down pretty easily, even with just Tech1 modal ion blasters with Antimatter, Caldari Navy Antimatter. But yeah, the AI is in off mode at this point, so it basically can't do anything about me, especially since I've scrambled them. The Tech2 one has built-in warp core stabilizers, but because the AI is in off mode, I don't know if you even have to have a scram on it at this point. You might, but I'm just gonna do it for safety's sake. So yeah, those are my combat scanner probes on D-scan. So the Legion and the Thresher probably warped off to the next system since they appear to be hunting this hauler. But yeah, I managed to chase it down. So yeah, it appears to be mostly shield tanked, which is interesting because for Amara ships, you'd expect them to be armor tank, or at least armor buffer. But yeah, the Caldari hauler is actually really hard to kill because for this destroyer fit that I have, it can't break the tank in enough time before the frigates get within engagement range. Unless you go really far out, which takes a long time. But yeah, now that I have it in armor, you can see I'm whittling down really fast. Yeah, I have it in structure now. So once you get the shield down, it's pretty easy to take out bestowers. I don't know about other ships, other NPC haulers. They might have more armor, and Impel definitely has more armor, which is why it's so hard to kill. You'll hear about Tech2 cruisers, the Tech2 haulers being harder to kill because they have more hit points. But yeah, I have about 0.9 mil ore here, which isn't enough for me to come back in an industrial. And also you can't sell it locally, you have to go to a trade hub. Or you can open it for a really small chance of getting a expensive loot drop. But yeah. Nothing new on D-scan, so you can tell that those guys just warped off. But yeah, I'll recall my combat probes. And yeah, I'll warp off to the next system. So I'm kind of proud that in this Tech1, all Tech1 fit of a standard destroyer, I was able to kill an NPC ore hauler, even stealing it from a from a Legion, which is, yeah. So it is possible, but it's a bit slower than a Hecate, but otherwise it's a good fit for alpha pilots.